Welcome back to part 2. Let's just jump in because there's so much. Let's go. All right, really quickly, I just wanted to touch on this for those of you who don't know. Meghan's been trying to trademark as ever for 2 years. She just got a second 6-month extension, and she's been warned that extension requests must be submitted every 6 months until completion. Otherwise, the application is considered abandoned. It doesn't take that long to get a trademark. I don't know what she's doing. You don't launch a business unless you've got the trademark secured. All right, one other bit of information I completely forgot about is that while Harry is in the UK, he's going to find out if he won or lost his privacy claim, his battle against the publisher. I think we all know how this is going to end. He's going to be on the hook for millions upon millions of dollars. This is the last of Harry's lawsuits. This will be the end. And we know that during the 11-week trial earlier this year, we heard from Baroness Doreen Lawrence that she was hooked into the lawsuit because of evidence that turned out wasn't real. And it was put on her plate by Harry, Sir Elton John, David Furnish, all of this stuff that supposedly came out, Liz Hurley, Sadie Frost. And then during his cross-examination, come to find out that he's an idiot, that he was actually in contact with a journalist, although he didn't admit that initially. The guy made a fool of himself on the stand. I will be very interested to see how much he owes. All right, now we're going to move on to this security thing. Some of Harry's sources, his people that work for him, said that he deserves the same protection that was given to Salman Rushdie after Iran's Ayatollah issued a fatwa calling for his death. He later lost an eye in a 2022 assassination, attempt, but he's comparing himself to that. For those of you who don't know, this man lives with a certain amount of security, and his life has been ruined by this book that he wrote. You guys should know that a journalist and friend of the late Princess Diana has accused Harry and Meghan of using their children, which we know they did, to try to force Ravik's hand when it comes to their UK security. She said they are hopelessly misguided. If Harry thought that bringing his children would force Ravik's hand, he was, as he is so often, hopelessly misguided. She also claimed that the palace was in a crouch position about increased scrutiny of royal finances in the wake of what's going on with Andrew. If he's learned nothing, she said, in the last 6 years of battling with Ravik, Harry went off like an IED when once again he was denied official police protection for the family. And as a source briefed him and he claimed the rug was pulled out, they're saying that he was literally driven to tears. Well, what rug? The only rug under the Sussexes is a flying carpet on which they circle the globe in a cloud of persistent delusion. She said the most baffling thing is the fact that they point out their repeated tendencies to make premature announcements before facts have even been confirmed. Indeed, all of their troubles for the past 6 years have stemmed from magical thinking that what they want will instantly become reality, starting with Megxit. So here's what happened. Harry had his private security firm put together a 40-page threat and vulnerability risk assessment. So it was paid for by Harry, and it shows, according to him, elevated terror threats in the UK, 6 active or historical plots targeting him that raise serious concerns, supposedly, allegedly. Now, let's just say, for argument's sake, that everything Harry said is the truth, that there's all these plots against him. If that's true, and it's so dangerous, and an attack is highly likely, because that's what it says in the report, why in the world is he demanding all this protection? Because he absolutely wants his children and wife back in the UK. I wouldn't care what kind of security there was. It doesn't matter. Why would you take the risk of anything happening to you or the ones you love? Because even with a security team around you, there's no guarantee that somebody couldn't get to you. So either he truly believes he's in danger and he's not, or he truly believes he's in danger and he is. But no matter which way you look at it, why take the risk? Why bother to come to the UK? Stay in the United States where everybody has a gun. If it is true, do we really want him around the veterans who could end up being collateral damage? Do we really want him at Scotty's Little Soldiers or at the hospital for Well Child, where these children could be collateral damage? If they really want to hurt him, they're not going to worry about hurting other people. Now, part of this assessment apparently included a specific Al-Qaeda document that explicitly called for Prince Harry's assassination. Could that have anything to do with Harry's unfortunate comments where he said killing those people was like knocking chess pieces off a board? If he truly had this report, why didn't he turn it in before? Why wait until Ravik said, no, you can't have it? I mean, this is what I told you guys was going to happen. He was going to start complaining that he's in danger and people want to kill him, and that's why he has to have all of this security. Well, GB News had something to say about this. It was spot on, and I want you to really listen to this closely.
Cameron, it sounds worrying.
Yeah, this report, first reported by ITV and confirmed by GB News this morning, does claim from Prince Harry's security team, but there are 6, as you say, terror threats against Harry and his family, Meghan and the 2 children, most of which are in the UK. A mixture of jihadist terrorist plots and some right-wing extremists as well. It all sounds very scary on the surface, doesn't it? But you have to kind of also, I think, look at the context here. Harry genuinely believes that his life is under threat and therefore he should have some kind of police protection while he is in the UK. As things stand, what he gets is a phone number for a police liaison officer. Now, that's clearly many more digits than 999 if someone was running at him with a knife, for example. His own security team, who he does pay for, that come across with him from the United States, they are not legally allowed to carry firearms and they don't have access to the same intelligence that the Metropolitan Police do. Nonetheless, if security was reinstated, and it doesn't look like it's going to be at this stage, it would cost British taxpayers a lot of money. And I'm going to leave it to the viewers really to make up their minds whether the 5th in line to the throne, who served 2 tours of Afghanistan but isn't a working royal and therefore does not really contribute to the UK economy, should be entitled to taxpayer-funded police protection.
You mentioned those 2 tours of Afghanistan. When we talk about the jihadist plots, is that in a way, or was it inevitable that this could happen after Prince Harry made those revelations in Spare about him killing Taliban fighters?
Yes, so he likens killing 25 Taliban fighters to chess pieces. Now, he has actually since then attacked the media narrative around that. Basically, he is saying that they are making it a dangerous situation for him by basically alleging that he was boasting about killing these 25 Taliban fighters. He would say that he would basically say that he was trying to normalise what it is like for a soldier. He was trying to reduce veteran suicides and just kind of talk about what happens actually day to day on the grounds in Afghanistan. Nonetheless, in a Telegram channel, which was, I think, reported by the FBI, there was an active call-out from Al-Qaeda to assassinate Prince Harry. So these are very real threats, regardless of what Prince Harry wrote in a book. But it's really tricky because the Home Office committee has not looked at Prince Harry's security for 6 years. That is why Harry wanted another security review, which hasn't happened. He alleges an establishment stitch-up trying to punish him for leaving as a working member of the royal family. There is no evidence that we can see to support that, but nonetheless, it's a very tricky situation. And of course, the whole thing overshadowing the whole point while he's here next week, which is the Invictus Games, which supports and champions veterans and injured service personnel.
And how likely do you think it would be for us to see the King paying for some security for Prince Harry? Obviously, I mean, he's not going to want his son to have any threats against him.
The King even has to really stay above politics and the workings of the state as a figurative constitutional monarch. The other issue is that the judge ruled last year that Prince Harry himself cannot pay for police-funded police protection because it sets a very dangerous precedent if a very rich person can basically hire the Metropolitan Police for their own protection or for any other purposes. So that's why he wasn't allowed. I suspect the King would be mindful of that. Nonetheless, of course, the King does have a lot of money. We don't know if it's in his power to force the Metropolitan Police to give his son protection. What we do know, of course, is that his principal private secretary does sit on that RAVEC, Royal and VIP Executive Committee, which makes the decision about security, who Harry has not got on with.
At this rate, do you think that Prince Harry is going to come to Britain next week?
He will definitely come to Britain next week. I think there's a bit of a question mark whether Meghan and the two children will, although we have been told categorically in black and white that the Meghan and the two children are coming. That was before RAVEC decided not to reinstate or up the level of security, so I'm really not sure, to be honest. We'll have to wait and see.
Do we know if there'll be any family visits?
Oh, well, let's wait and see. They're not going to comment on family visits. I think a lot of journalists will be trying their hardest to find out whether there are any. I think if it does, including me in the US as well, there was an attempted break-in with a guy with a hammer and some duct tape trying to get into their Montecito home in 2023.
Let me stop it right there. I was really shocked that he said something about that. The guy that was caught outside Harry and Meghan's house was charged with stalking, and then it was downgraded to menacing. There was no mention of a hammer. There was no mention of duct tape. I don't know where he got that information from, probably from Harry and Meghan, because if that had been the truth, you would have seen it in the report, and I researched this. Of course, Squatty Chris Ship threw his hat into the ring and was like, oh, he has to have security. Oh my God, yeah, we saw the report. It's just terrible. Yeah, right. Now, in the middle of all of this, of course, Harry's camp says that Prince William is represented on the 9-person RAVEC committee responsible for the security, and the Home Office and Buckingham Palace continue to maintain that all security decisions are handled strictly by independent professionals. Harry blames William for encouraging the family rift. Harry blames William for deepening the family divide. Harry has taken no accountability whatsoever for the state of affairs between him and his family. He should have known what was going to happen. Now, with all of this going on, what's being reported is that Meghan's not worried about being booed, but what the two of them are really worried about is that nobody will turn up to see them. I mean, they're not stupid. Their biggest fear is not that they'll be booed at by the crowds. It's not having any crowds at all and being ignored, not drawing people to whatever they're doing publicly. That's what they're really afraid of. And it's very plausible, especially if you look at the opinion polls in the UK. Yes, they'll put on a brave face. They won't show any fear, but they'll be very secretly anxious about that, especially after what happened to Harry on his last trip here, remember? All right, let's move into our last big story for the day. This is a whopper. Richard Eden from the Daily Mail has claimed that Harry and Meghan have been giving specific information to media members via a confidential WhatsApp chat group. He said that this group was created by Harry and Meghan's Director of Communications, Leah McGuire, and it includes several media personalities who get firsthand information about what Harry and Meghan are doing and all their activities. Now, Mr. Eden said that initially he was disappointed because he was not invited to be part of the group. But he says this week he's very profoundly relieved not to be a member of that group because those who were a member were made to look like prize chumps through no fault of their own, he said. He said that the group members got detailed itineraries of Harry and Meghan's return to Britain, which included the children. And so news of the visit was reported very swiftly, highlighting that it will be their first family trip back in 4 years. And reporters initially celebrated the news about Harry's request for taxpayer-funded police protection, only to be alarmed when the Sun reported that the Home Office rejected the demand. Now, this led to a flurry of messages in the WhatsApp group clarifying that their previous reports were incorrect. It has been reported that Harry is now reconsidering bringing the family following the rejection. And so viewers and readers who relied on the BBC and other major publications faced confusion due to this sudden reversal in information. Now, as royal correspondents, Journalists typically receive factual briefing notes from the palace, leading to expectations of trustworthiness and communications from Harry and Meghan. But no significant changes occurred regarding their situation. The Home Office merely reiterated that since stepping back in 2020, the couple is ineligible for taxpayer-funded security. The only alteration was Harry's reaction to this unchanged policy. Journalist Tom Sykes from the Daily Beast was part of that group, and he publicly apologized for misleading readers about the developments. He said, quote, "It is now blatantly apparent what this whole exercise was about. The tour, the announcement that Meghan and the kids were coming, the whole carefully choreographed media rollout, the months of reassurances to the royal household that this was happening, the accommodation request, the detailed planning. It was all just to bounce his poor, weak, loving father into intervening in the government's security decision-making, something Charles, to his eternal credit, has refused to do. Whether Harry and Meghan deliberately orchestrated this narrative or simply became caught up in shifting security negotiations remains open to interpretation. But this episode has reignited scrutiny over their communication strategy at a time when they were hoping to mend ties with the royal family, and that was already hanging by a thread. All right, you guys, I know that is a lot of information, but I need your comments. So don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button and the bell for all notifications. Go down into the description box where you'll find the link to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, a link to my father's book, which remains up for sale on Amazon, a link to my Amazon wish list, as well as a physical address. For those of you who have donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.